This is Optimal Relationships Daily, episode 1552, 6 Ways to Deal with Unwanted Dating Advice, by Dr. Diana Kirschner of lovein90days.com. Hello, everybody. Happy Sunday, and welcome back for another episode of ORD. I'm Greg Audino, your host and narrator. Today, we will be hearing from Dr. Diana Kirschner. She's a regular around here, has been for years now. This is a fantastic piece about dealing with unwanted dating advice, and it's very layered. It's packed with ideas and can definitely be applied to any sort of unwanted advice, not just dating. So, let's hear Dr. Diana's words of wisdom and start this article now as we optimize your life. 6 Ways to Deal with Unwanted Dating Advice, by Dr. Diana Kirschner of lovein90days.com. It is extremely difficult to deal with all of the unwanted dating advice that comes your way when you're single. There's your mother, there's your Aunt Claire, your best friend or frenemy, who are all weighing in on what you should do or not do to find the one. Go out to dinner with your cousin and his friends. Keto will take off those last few pounds. You have such a pretty face. You have to get out more. You're home too much. It's enough to make you want to stop talking to them completely. But there are other, easier ways to handle unwanted dating advice, where you don't have to kill off the relationship in order to be around your well-meaning but sabotaging family and friends. So, here are 6 powerful tips for dealing with unwanted dating advice. Dealing with unwanted dating advice tip number 1. Use the therapist's secret. When you're facing unwanted dating advice, win by refusing to engage in a disagreement. Accept comments on your appearance, weight, or being single, or what you should be doing differently. In other words, criticisms that used to upset you, now simply nod and say, "That's the way you see it." This really throws them in a judo-like way without engaging them further, and will save you from a lot of stress. Dealing with unwanted dating advice tip number 2. Take an attitude of positive paranoia. When your family or friends hit you with their usual unwanted dating advice, save yourself from suffering by focusing on how they love you and really want to help you rather than sabotaging you. Here's what I mean. You know that the people in your posse love you and mean well, but they don't always know how to show it. Often we do not focus on the love that is truly there for us. Instead, we focus on the surface interactions, which are distractions. For example, we dwell on what a family member or friend is doing and saying in the moment. Comments or actions that can be quite dim-witted, unloving, or even unconsciously cruel. This puts us in a state of paranoia, where we suspect that the person may not care for us all that much. Focus instead on how much the person at their core really does love you, and you'll get more of their caring. Refocusing on the love that might not be evident in the moment is positive paranoia. Dealing with unwanted dating advice tip number 3. Think positive thoughts that come from positive paranoia. When someone gives you unwanted dating advice that seems unsupportive, negative, or pushy, think from a place of acknowledging love. Thoughts like, "I bet mom really thinks I'm a catch, even though she's making the 'you're too fat' remarks." Or, "My friend really wants to help me succeed in dating, even though she's critical." See how that changes your relationship with these difficult people. You can tip the scales to the plus side and avoid suffering, as well as reap more positives from them by changing the focus of your own outlook. Dealing with unwanted dating advice tip number 4. Shape your frenemy's behavior so that it becomes helpful. When you get unwanted dating advice, begin shaping your frenemy's behavior. This technique promotes more optimistic, supportive, and uplifting behavior. You'll feel better, and after they get the hang of it, they will too. To accomplish this goal, you will use what I call positive shaping talk. Clearly and lovingly ask for exactly what you want and need. Dealing with unwanted dating advice tip number 5. Simply say, "I would really love it if you said... ... Simply fill in the blank with what you really want your relative or friend to say to you. For example, you could say, "I love how much you love me, Mom. I would love it if you said, 'You are such an amazing catch.'" Dealing with unwanted dating advice tip number 6. Build a boundary around toxic people. Sometimes, close friends or family members fail to come through for you even though you've used positive paranoia and positive shaping talk. In those instances, it's time to put some distance between you. Move to a more cordial relationship where you do not discuss personal matters. This means you do not talk about your dating life at all. And if they bring it up, let them know that you do not want to discuss it. Or say that you have to get going and get off the phone. The story of Joya. For example, Joya, one of our coaching clients, who is in her 30s, found a great new guy, and as she discussed him with Carrie, a best friend, frenemy, she found herself doubting that he would be able to be in a lasting, faithful relationship. Carrie was a very untrusting person, as she had chosen unfaithful men. So Carrie set about protecting Joya by putting fear into her mind with unwanted dating advice about the new hottie she was dating. Joya's coach suggested that she stop discussing her love life with Carrie. Things were going great. And then her boyfriend hooked up with his ex in order to see if it was over. Joya wanted to call her frenemy and dish about the crisis, but she did not. Instead, she handled it maturely and used positive shaping talk to deepen her relationship with her new boyfriend. Here's how she describes the outcome. "Thank you for helping me to set boundaries with Carrie. If I'd called her, I would have handled it in all the wrong ways, with lots of drama, rather than focusing on confronting him with the truth. Instead, I asked him to make it up to me, so that he could show me a clear choice that he wants to be with me. I said, I need to hear you say that you love me. So he came over and hugged me and said, I love you. I'm thrilled that I didn't ruin the relationship and didn't call my friends to whine and dramatize. I could have created more pain for myself. Healing the situation is much better than being taken over by drama." You just listened to the post titled 6 Ways to Deal with Unwanted Dating Advice by Dr. Diana Kirschner of LoveIn90Days.com. And thanks so much to Dr. Diana for this one. Super helpful post from her as always, and I always love her client testimonials. Now, I really like this guide that she's offered today, and if there is one thing I'd like to talk more about, it would be encouraging anyone who's in this situation to remain in touch with the intentions of the people providing advice. So this will likely help you to feel less defensive and less flustered. If they're not being particularly helpful, in addition to setting a boundary with them and standing your ground in that way, it can be very soothing to just remember that these people are likely trying to help out or perhaps even constructing advice based on their own relationship grief and in actuality are trying to heal themselves. This type of reframe can really help you to ride the line of not putting up with the advice that you don't want, yet also not holding on to resentment for those delivering said advice. So it just puts a different spotlight out. It puts a spotlight on the ways in which they're trying to connect with you, which can color the whole experience much differently, needless to say. So I encourage you to try that in the face of any unsolicited advice you might be receiving, dating or not. Wishing you the very best of luck, everybody, as we wrap up another episode. Have a great day, and be sure to tune into our weekly bonus episode, which is live now as well. And I'll see you there, where your optimal life awaits.